controller asked him if he can take his dog out. And I was like, yeah. And he sent me a picture saying Gunner says thanks, and it's literally his dog taking a shit.
It's classic. Wow.
Thanks
Spoiler
for
alert.
that. Alrighty. All right, sorry everybody. Apologize. We had a few hiccups getting the stream going today, but we are here in season 3, week 3, day 4, our final matchup for the week between Team Dark Horse, between Team. Hold on, I'm sorry,
Jungle
I'm
Control?
struggling here. Yep, Jungle Control. That's correct. Thank you. And Dark Horse, of course, headed up by Lynn, and Team Jungle Control headed up by Control himself. So my name is AI Box. I'm joined today by Joe McBro himself. How you doing today, Joe?
Salutations, AI Box. I'm doing great, man. Just making a quick stop by. I only have time to cast the one game, but doing what we can to support the stream.
Yeah, for sure. No, really appreciate you subbing in, jumping in on the last minute. And I'm really excited about this matchup, kind of between two teams that are maybe still working toward their full potential, but also have had pretty decent showings so far. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
My thoughts on this matchup, dude, are that I'm excited that my team had to play versus Teague and Lynn and the rest of the squad before they figured their business out because they're looking like a force to be reckoned with now. Um, that said, I think there's a lot of potential in Control's team, Jungle Control. But if you had a gun to my head, I would definitely give it to Team Dark Horse.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Lin, looking like one of the premier mid laners within the league, has looked particularly strong on that Viego that we just see banned right off the bat, which I think is completely fair.
Yeah, go Viego, go, dude. The pick's OP. No one likes to play against it.
Hey, you're lost.
When I'm
I
playing
get it.
Minecraft. Yeah, Fizz gone as well. No surprises there. Lin's kind of a monster on that champ, but he's so difficult to ban out, I've found. Like, he just plays all of the annoying champs, and I mean that in the best way.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
6 or 7 of them, and he's just going to pick out like another assassin. Like, oh, it turns out he's actually a beast. I don't know.
Who questions
yeah,
my ability?
exactly. And I mean,
AD
especially with
Lucian.
the bands that we're seeing so far, a lot of respect for kind of their the signature champs, Lin's Viego, the Fizz, the really annoying stuff coming out, and the Blitzcrank. I mean, all of those is maybe that was Lin's draft strategy going into everything. Just pick people with the most annoying mains as possible.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, you know what? No one likes to play against this. No one likes to play against that. I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
And yet they spread out the bans, just one on each person. So it seems like they picked the single pick that was worse for them for each player, and they're just going to leave everything else up. So notably, like the Cassidy is up for Lynn. He's pretty awesome at that champ. He plays quite a bit of it. Um, ooh, the
Yeah,
Jhin.
interesting draft strategy. Picking up the Lulu for Matthias. Lulu, a really strong power pick right now. We're seeing a lot in LEC, LCS, LCK. Just in the pro scene has been pretty prevalent, along with that Xin Zhao and the Jinx. So kind of a lot of the pretty standard meta power picks that we're seeing come through. Interesting, they just want to get their AD carry pick out of the way, perhaps looking for counter picks out of the other roles.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh wow, the fast
Wow, the
hot lock
Cog
in on the Cog
Lulu.
Lulu. Yeah, what do you think about that, dude?
That I think this lane is incredibly difficult to play. Just in
Yes.
general, that W power window for the Kog'Maw, you just put the attack speed, you put the shield on the Kog'Maw, and the Kog'Maw does everything else. It's really annoying to deal with. Jinx, Droid has to be really careful with this positioning on the Jinx. However, when that W window is down, Jinx is able to poke back, get a little bit of damage afterwards, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw things like Guardian, Bone Plating come through for the Lulu, make it really difficult to poke down.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense to
Oh, and
me.
there's that Cassidin that you called.
Yeah, there it is. He's doing, he has red side, so he's going to use that information that he has now and the availability of the last pick in the first phase there to lock it in.
I must
and
not
I think
fall.
anything that he doesn't want to play against, he can just ban now. I'm pretty sure Control plays some like decent champs into the Cassidin, but I think Lin is more than confident in any of the matchups that you can provide.
Yeah, I totally agree. I wonder if this might be like the Kiana game that he's thinking. He sees the Cassidin, might be looking to punch that, especially after. Yeah, and then on the other side, we're seeing just those Swordmaster champs. We've seen him play like the Leona and the Nautilus. Get some of those signatures out of there, force him maybe onto something a little less comfortable.
Yeah, just about all of the engaged supports that I've known Sword to play. I think he's played a few games of Thresh. He could probably bust out the Alistar. You know, the character's only like 2 buttons, so I'm sure he could do such a thing. But that
You
might not
say
be what he
that.
wants to pair with the Jinx.
Yeah, I could see that
Ooh.
too.
And there you go,
I
the
mean,
Braum.
on the one hand, yeah, I think the Braum is fair. It's pretty good at absorbing damage from this Kog'Maw. Also, is able to block that Lulu Q to slow the Jinx out. Not a bad for lane. Yeah, I kind of like the pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, the Jinx is a more, like a slower scaling champ. She probably doesn't want to be
Oh, yep,
too
there it is.
crap early. Yeah, there's the Lucian mid, if you can believe that. And the Braum
He is
has
going to abuse the
this.
crap out of this Kassadin.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's going to be a tough early game for him, but if anyone is equal to it, I'm sure it's Lin. He's played many, many games on that champ, and I'm sure
For sure.
most matchups are bad for Cassidy early. Like it's kind of his thing, unless it's the
Yeah,
rare Lucian top. But
it's interesting.
it
Silas
just
top
might
for
be.
Tranimal. Oh, actually, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Tranimal plays Silas. Yeah, I think you're right. That is the Lucian top.
So what
Definitely
they
plays
could
Lucian.
do, and this might kind of skirt the lines of legality in the TCL, but they could just put Tranwell on Lucian and lane swap, because he
I
knows how
think
to
that's
play
a good
that
idea.
matchup. Yeah, which I believe should be completely fine. Um, as far as the rules go, because he's still playing a champ that he plays, but we shall see.
I think
Let's.
that's just going to give you a better matchup.
Oh yeah,
Cass is a
absolutely.
really bold first pick, in particular against, like he said, he doesn't have necessarily a lot of hard winning early games. But what
Yes.
he does is he has lanes where the other person can't do anything to him because maybe he has like fleet, maybe he has biscuits. He just kind of sustains through everything with that and bone plating, plus his Q shield. It makes
Yeah.
him really, really deceptively tanky in the early game where the mid laner can't necessarily make plays. But this
Exactly.
matchup's definitely not one of those.
Anyway, this ain't it. Yeah. No, definitely not. It's kind of a mixed bag compositionally from what is this team's name? Team Jungle Control.
Control, yeah.
We have like a pretty wide mix of like early game stuff, late game stuff. This Lulu on the Silas, I'm pretty interested to see how that goes. Like he just ease forward and uses his mobility, followed up by a Lulu ult. Like obviously she's probably gonna only want to be ulting Kog'Maw, but if the situation calls for it, that's a pretty nasty combination.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of my concern. I think that's a great point where it feels like Jungle Control kind of picked their champions in a vacuum. Like they had a very specific reason for why they picked it. Maybe it's for lane. Maybe if you're like Silas, you see a lot of good ultimates that you can take. My concern is that maybe they didn't necessarily pick as much for composition. If you kind of look at how their champions start to fit together, it kind of falls apart a little bit more. I would have loved to see something like a Karma come out, whether it's
Sure.
like in one of the solo lanes. I think that would have fit in really well with what they're doing. Kind of that speed up double 80 carry. I think that would have fit in really well.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah,
I could see that. I do like that they at least have one enchanter, which is more than we can say for the other team here, the Dark Horses, where they do have that Jinx, but and there's some beefy frontline for sure, but you know, no shields, no heals. It's no Lulu in the Braum pick there.
for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this early game played fairly conservatively. A lot of what I want to say Dark Horses want to do is going to be revolving around Teague, uh,
Mhm.
especially in the early game. I mean, what are you expecting out of a cast out of an Ornn? They're definitely playing for like scaling. Versus there's a lot of agency. You're talking about Volibear, Lucian. That topside 2v2 is extremely strong, and control
Yeah.
maybe rotating toward objectives as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I'm sorry, Lucian mids do have a pretty huge tendency to be pushed up way too far. So maybe we see some action in the mid lane there with Teak swinging by with the very, very potent Xin Zhao right now. If Lucian throws out one errant dash, and he's out of position for
Hmm.
a second there, he's pretty much just dead to Xin if my math checks out.
Spoken like
And
a true jungler.
I'm just saying, dude. Lucian mids, without fail, call me on it. 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Lucian mids always push to the tower.
Yep,
Uh,
100%. I think it's like a curse because they're always queuing through the wave. They're always trying to look for that Q poke damage. They're not necessarily paying attention to where their wave is as much. In my experience, that has definitely been the thing. It's very abusable.
true, true, true. No, maybe it's just because I'm a bad gamer. I don't get to
No.
see any like actually good Lucian mids. XD.
Yeah. So what do you think? So obviously Channel is going to be on this solution. Do you think they are going to go for the lane swap, or do you think they're going to stick with
Yeah,
the handshake lanes? Because the Lucian does still do pretty well against the Ornn. Anyways.
it'd be kind of weird if they didn't, man. If they picked
I
Lucian
agree.
top, I think it'd be pretty troll of them not to put it versus Kassadin's like one of the like classic matchups, I guess. Um, they should absolutely do that. But I am going to look for some 3v3 action, I guess, from the top and the mid there on the
Mhm.
Silas, the Lucian, and the Volibear. Like they can go very deep. Those
Yeah.
three champs together are very mobile, very annoying, and very strong in those like early to mid phases of the game. So I'm looking for them, I guess, to kind of carry the momentum of the early game into the
Yeah.
mid game and give
And
Cloud
bouncing off
Blue
of
time to
that,
scale.
yeah, and
Mhm.
bouncing off of that, I'm curious about how familiar these teams are with the macro of these lane swaps. I think it'll be very dependent on if maybe one of the team messes up the macro a little bit, then we're seeing some more skirmishing happening, kind of like what
Mhm.
you said with that topside 3v3. Like maybe things start to get messy, maybe waves start getting lost in the kind of in the mess of everything. So
Sure.
which team ends up coming out on top between all this lane swapping that might happen?
Yeah, so in that situation, I would have to give it to Team Dark Horse here. I think that's actually where Lin and Teague thrive, and they're kind of
Hmm.
the identity of this team. Like Lin knows how to play his like flanks and his kind of assassiny off to the side characters very well. And Teague is always just looking for that window to get in when you least expect it, or when you've maybe overextended like one step too far. So those two ideally in one of those chaotic situations that you were mentioning might be able to kind of sneak in a couple of early kills where
Right.
they otherwise should not receive them. And if that gets the Kassadin ball rolling, then they're going to be very happy with that indeed.
Exactly. Yeah, like you said, this Xin is definitely no slouch.
30 seconds until
That kind
minions
of the
spawn.
heart and soul of what happens is going to be dependent on what Lin and Teague are doing, and Lin, especially moving into the mid late, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to carry on this Kassadin. But if Teague is able to get some good early movements off, get some of those early objectives, really shut down this Volibear. I mean, what does Volibear
Mhm.
do moving into late game?
Yeah, that's true. He is going to be pretty sad to face the Braum and the Jinx who are just blasting him. Um, That said, this is really
Minions have
interesting. The closer I look
spawned.
at it, it seems like Team Dark Horse here has really just drafted like four, I guess three, like really,
Yeah,
really,
just
really
straight
hard
scaling.
scaling picks. So they
Yeah.
might struggle to find their footing in the early to mid game, unless Zen, who is obviously very strong early, can do most of the heavy lifting, which is totally possible. So I would say of everyone on their team, it's Teague whose performance is the most important this game.
That's I would totally agree. Like you said, I think the onus is on Gobert to be very active in this early game. I would have actually have liked to see an early invade for a ward. Oh, and
Hmm.
there's that early E dash straightforward,
They
level
swapped the
one.
swap.
Yep, there
Wait
it
a
is. Just
second.
as we had said it would
Just as we
be.
drew it up, did music in the mid lane.
Yeah, Yeah, this early macro is very important. They really want to make sure that they have a good early game for this guys.
Yeah, it looks like they even placed that top board very early as well, which I did not spot out while I was rambling. But just to kind of notify them who was going to go to that top lane, so they could make sure that they swapped into the right position immediately. So
Right.
very heads up ward there.
Yeah, excellent decision making. They realize what might potentially happen. They immediately adapt. So good communication on that. On the other side, I would have liked to see more proactivity in some jungle control. I think that they had the potential to really take over this early game, and now we're seeing that later after work come in. That's pretty smart. They really want to make sure they're able to capitalize on this early pathing and be able to punish this early game or the absence thereof, I should say, that's coming from the side of Dark Horse.
I just want to call back to 2 minutes ago where I said every Lucian mid pushes up.
The dash forward.
Yeah. It's happening.
Oh, flashes the W though, so... Excuse me, sorry. I forgot I was on play-by-play there for a second.
I was like, pick it up, Aaron!
Wait, are you gonna talk? Oh, goes for the Ignite, I get the sword on Music X.
He gets the sword.
Forward, gets the Q and the Ignite, and solo kills Music X. Music X is gonna mix a little bit, but not a huge wave there as the TP coming through. Like you said, Lucian pushed forward, but flashing that Xin Zhao W is able to get out of it.
Yeah, really nicely done by him there to evade the gank, 1, and 2, get the kill on the run back. There it was. He did have to burn the Ignite, but like that's why we take it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
usually here, little Garrett, yeah, looking for a little bit of invade, but kind of just wasting his time here. And this is what I really like here. Silas saw what was happening in the middle lane, immediately pushed his wave hit, and they're looking for the lane swap reset. This is really intelligent play, especially with Music X TPing back into the middle lane.
Yeah, very important, especially after he has burnt the TP, so he's kind of committed. Wow, it looks like he's walking halfway up. No, okay, Music.
No, he's just pushed the wave in. The control will miss a little bit of a wave. He was a little bit late on the reset. Probably should have reset a little bit there, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, Channel's going to get a nice little freeze here as they reset themselves.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, maybe it's not the end of the world. Like Lucian is still going to be abusing this Ornn pick, at least in the early phases of the game here. So.
Kind of opposite side ganks. Lil Garrett's still sticking around. He has wasted so much time not doing anything, but Teague is looking for a gank, but Thies Von Wells looking completely out of mana. Going to have to burn both summoners off the Kog'Maw as double TPs are coming back through. Swordmaster pretty dead, but no, the flash shield comes through as Silas lands the longest change you'll ever see in his entire life, and he is deep into things, and Thies Von Wells might have to burn his own flash to get out of it, but Xin Zhao, good discipline on the mark, doesn't get the dash going forward though, as it is a 1-for-1 mid lane for support.
And both those mid laners were itching to hit the T key, dude. Just blast that teleport. And there they went. Unfortunately, Cassidy did not really get much for it. I guess he picked up an assist, but that kill going over to Silas early is exactly what the doctor ordered. He's going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, ultimately, it's kind of a weird spot for the wave in mid lane, but it's not going to matter as much because they can't get the drag.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, a dragon for their trouble there is, you know, not the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, Control able to get a little bit of a pushback with since he does have his TP, while Lin the Legend obviously burned it to go down. Actually, no, he just walked there, didn't he? They're gonna get some good deep vision here and able to hold the extension. What I wanted to bring up further though is Little Garrett used a lot of time top side without farm, and has somehow still maintained even farm. So I wasn't really quite tracking Teague's pathing there, but
yeah, I did want to touch on that a little bit. You can kind of see the experience kind of in the jungle pathing, I guess, kind of show. So where Teague cleared that whole quadrant on his blue side and then ganked mid and then went straight back to clearing, like obviously that's a pretty efficient path, especially, you know, to sneak in a gank there. Whereas Garrett just cleared a few camps and then he went for the red steal and he sat in that bush for the entirety of that time while Teague just did his red buff, when he instead could have been getting both scuttle crabs, and instead he only got one scuttle crab. And he could have done, you know.
Oh, as we see the repeat gank, Swordmaster dubbing forward, gets the passive, but misses the Q onto him. Ultimately, it looks like they're still going to get it. No flash on this Kog'Maw, no really anything as the Tombstone Choppers come through, and Teague secures the kill. Not giving it over to the AD carry. Swordmaster getting dangerously low, but it is still a nice repeat gank for Team Dark versus.
Looks like there was some sort of dive happening on the top side, and Control unfortunately was dropped a bit too low, and Cassidy got the kill there if my eyes don't deceive me. Off screen, off stream, but Nonetheless, Lin showing his, his skill on that champ, already grabbing an early kill. Is he even level 6? He just hit level 6 a minute ago. Okay.
Yeah, extremely crucial to be tracking those summoners, especially on a champ with decent escapability like even cast in early game, right? So looks like they went for that failed dive control given over his life. He has not been this game. Actually, neither of them have. Wow, 47 to 32 CS at 7 minutes. Very low farm numbers across the map outside of Tranimal himself. He is looking pretty strong.
Everybody, but Tranimal hasn't really been farming this game.
My goodness.
XD.
It's okay. What's money but a number? It's not like he doesn't do anything.
Dude. What's scaling? What are items?
Yeah.
Who needs them?
Yeah, we have seen so much lane swapping. Yeah.
Yeah, he rotates back mid now that he's 6. I think he's gonna have a much better time now than he would have pre-6. Can't really punish him quite as much with his ultimate up and the tier stacks going.
Yeah, and the waves are unfortunately in a spot that's going to be very difficult for the Dark Horses to swap for at least 1 or 2 more waves. And it's going to shape up to be a nice little XP and CS lead. It looks like for the Lucian at least, and possibly more plates.
Yeah, certainly. He has quite a bit of money. I think it must be the most in the game, right? So he'll probably hit that mythic power spike first. What kind of plays do you think they should be making? Like, are they going to be going for this Rift Herald soon, you think, since their 3 strongest members are up here? Oh, Teague!
Oh, Tranimal going for the all-in, goes for and flashes forward onto Lin. Lin living with 1 HP is going to trade 1 for 1 on the dive with Teague showing up. Nice little mechanical play from Lucian. Unfortunately, a lot of those cooling shots getting blocked up by the minion wave, but still flashes forward and is able to secure the kill.
I gotta be real with you, man. I did not think he was gonna get that kill, and he was just going bananas to just die. But no, he picked it up 1 for 1 there. I'm sure that's better for Cassidy than it is for him, but we take those, man.
Exactly, like you said, we definitely take those. He is still the highest gold in the game, as Control has his wave pushed, and they are looking for a contest on this Rift Herald. Teague not looking to be where he is at the moment, but he does have help coming in the form of a Cassidy. Level 7 coming to help support, but Lucian is here. Maybe has a little bit of an inside track on his lane. They should be looking for this fight.
Ooh,
the Jinx Rocket almost stealing it, but they are able to secure it up. Little Garrett, as the smite, saves it. Decides that they were just going to secure it that way, but in the end, it is a free Rift Herald. They just kind of come and swoop it.
That was all planned. He factored in the Jinx Rocket damage. Trust. Oh,
yeah.
Wow, look at this nice little trade. Tactics here, kind of going for it. It's pretty early in the game. He only has his like Hearthbound Axe or whatever that trash item is, and he's chunking pretty good already. And it's only 10 minutes, so.
It is not your ideal AD carry item, and unfortunately gives you move speed instead of, well, attack speed and damage like you would normally get with, or normally want with early AD carry itemization. And the unfortunate thing is that Matthias was on a little vision quest there, and wasn't able to put his abilities. That's a difference, very solid difference in the early game beyond even with the W up, put a Lulu shield attack speed boost on it, it's like another 200-300 damage. It's a lot more damage. That's an extra auto, it's obviously the picks damage, it's a lot.
And they are in much better shape for this dragon than they were before. Everybody is on time and in the right position for it, so they will get that pretty uncontestedly. Also, I really like how you phrased that, man. He was on a little vision quest. I feel like some other more obstinate ADC players would have phrased that differently. You know, he's off doing Lord knows what, doing nothing.
Lord knows what. I've never said that 9 times in life.
Placing these stupid vision sticks.
Yeah. I think we're seeing a kind of a symptom of some of the lack of early game from Team Dark Horse. They're giving up the last objectives. Tranimal's so strong right now, especially versus this Cassidy, that it's making it very difficult for them to fight 2v2 for this Cassidy to really support his jungler.
Yeah, absolutely, and he certainly just wants to be farming up and scaling right now, so it's kind of a mixed message, I guess. Like, the picks don't really coincide. Wow, Music.
Nice little all-in, and these are such favorable lanes. I mean, Music, unfortunately, with that first item, Bramble Vest, so that's not going to be doing you a whole lot of good against Control unless you get it low. And the armor not doing really any good, so this is a very, very unfortunate lane swap that it's been this way for like the last 4 minutes. For Team Dark Horses, this is not what they need to be happening.
Dude, when will the TCL Bramble first meta end? He's not required to buy that item. Please stop.
Yeah, and
Anything
we
else?
saw do. I don't know if I was paying attention to see if we did this game, but we've seen the futures market Orin. You basically are able to start a cloth armor, just farm like 2 waves, and then futures market straight into that bramble. as
Oh,
the
they're going for it, though.
Ornhorn is coming through. Teague is on the longest support of your life, but the counter Ornhorn now coming through, getting the double slow and the one knockup because X Unstoppables onto it. Teague gets the mark, the double flash forward onto the control Silas. They are able to secure the kill. Using Teague, just using his W mark to dash forward onto the Zen Chow.
Yeah, everybody using everything there. One
Yeah,
more
there's
for
the Gale
Teague, man.
Force. Yeah, so but I mean, this Lucian's hitting a huge power spike. Has the Gale Force, has the ability to really chase down anyone the entire game at the moment. Especially Lynn the Legend having blown Flash at some point, looked
Here we
like
go.
was
This is
getting
nice.
all in.
Yeah, so this tower should fall pretty easily here. That's a lot of plate gold just to add on to his already, expansive surplus of money that he has over the other champs. If they could get the second hit, they don't care about the second hit. That's fine.
Yeah, they're just gonna force some division. I think that's a good
Exactly.
decision. Or they're going to be saying a little bit of a trap here as Teague is forced to flash back out and Trample just one shot to Gale Force E and gets the one tap onto the enemy jungler. Excellent little trap there for
Really,
Team Jungle Control.
Really nice bait, I guess. They knew he was going to be walking in there to grab that camp, and then boom, dude, Volibear. A lot of damage right away, and then Lucian with the enormous follow-up. Like you said, that Gale Force damage is huge. Could they look for a dive here with Volibear ult? Like they had? Oh, well, I guess they don't have the wave.
Honestly,
Okay.
especially after passing that blue buff over, especially since Worst Tactics NA has kind of gotten the worst of things down here in the bottom lane, which is very unusual. Kaki Lulu, a very, very strong lane. Really, June's Brown really only has some potential to all in that, but Animal is looking for something himself. Flashes out of everything, has the exhaust on top of him. Swordmaster's looking very low, and the final Lucian Twisted Light comes through and gets the kill, but it is a full 4-man down here. As Worst Tactics NA and Matthias are looking for the dive, double flash over the wall, going on to Lin, who is fresh out of mana, and so is Droid. They can definitely still look for something here, but they are calling it quits. They are on the full retreat, happy with the one support kill secured.
Tactics flashing in, dude, saying, I want a piece of the action. Nothing left to be gained there, but I appreciate the gusto. Look at him.
Yeah.
Go for it, dude.
A little bit of a questionable positioning from the side of the bot lane. Definitely wanted to support that play. Double flashing over the wall, even though they had the Lulu ult up. Not sure if they needed to. I think they could have fought that out and potentially made more of it, especially with the Volibear ult disabling the potential turret.
Exactly, yeah. I think without the wave, even though they did have the Volibear ult there, a full-on dive, it might have been a little sus. But
Yeah.
they got what they got, and that's all good. Control picking up the blue in preparation for the dragon, I would assume. He does have teleport
Sure.
up. So I think, I don't think, I know that they're much stronger at this point in the game to be taking these dragons.
Without a
So-
doubt. I mean, you look at the strength on Tranimal, he's almost built up toward his entire Essence River right now. Actually, Team Dark Horse sitting on a ward and they don't realize it. They're just going to start the base. No TPs available to them, so if he finishes this channel, they're going to be very, very late in responding to this
Ooh.
dragon. Cassin might be a little bit late, but meanwhile, Control is still in base himself, does have the TP, waiting for things to happen.
No, I think he's fine. It's he'll get there in time. It's okay. It's still like a ways away.
Okay, gotcha. I thought it was like 30 seconds or something like that.
But Lucian is really nicely just slamming this this mid wave, so they kind of had to make the choice there if they want that farm or if they want the dragon.
Little bit of a
They're a
mistake.
little caught.
Horn coming through, looking for the Volibear pull there is surprisingly tanky as they get double knocked up the bot lane. The final Lulu ult coming through, and the Overgrowth isn't enough to save him, as it is now a bad fight for Team Jungle Control. Little Garrett going in and securing his own death, as it is a free for nothing plus dragon in favor of Team Dark Horse, and they cannot be letting this.
Yeah, man, they're making me eat my words here. It looks like there was kind of a positioning kerfuffle there. I don't think that was exactly where they wanted to be, and then they were kind of forced to fight into a way that they did not want, unfortunately.
My concern with what happened there is that they saw the Cassin base. What they should have done is base up and just push in for vision. That forces the Cassin to be in a bad position in base, and then they are just able to get free vision and set him onto the next dragon. Instead, they do none of that. Cassin gets to return to the objective for free, and then they push and get picked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good read on it. There was no reason with the lead that they have and the way that their lanes were state-wise, I guess, to be in that spot. Yeah, they were there.
Yeah, I mean, they
Forced
watched the
to fight into
Cassin in base.
Thorn and the Braum ult, which was not really what they want.
Yeah. Nonetheless, controls looking pretty strong on the Sylas, but Teak is here to support his top laner, Music X, taking that damage because he is low on the MRs, but nonetheless, Sylas doesn't have the damage to 1v2 them just yet. That champion's pretty disgusting, but not disgusting enough.
It's getting buffed, dude. They're buffing the mage item costs.
Yeah, and crucially, I don't think that Jungle Control has opened up enough of a lead for the state. Lin's going to start scaling on this castle, or it's going to start scaling on the Jinx, and he's just going to be giving them, all of those nice little upgrades.
That's very true. I'm not sure how much longer this this lead that they built up on the Lucian will be incredibly relevant, but I imagine he still has like 5 or 6 minutes to leverage that before it starts to be.
Yeah,
just
the nice thing is solo lane, Lucian does scale fairly well.
Yeah, it's true.
Especially with the kind of lead that he has, but they really need to start team fighting these as like 5. Let this Cog Lulu kind of do damage from the backline, form a wall for them, while Trinables just potentially in the enemy backline doing his thing.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in because Cassidy definitely does want to do the side lane business there. So if he's side laning as well, it's like we're kind of playing into Cassidy's win con. Whereas, yeah, if they were grouped up, they could definitely be keeping him off of the sides and pushing more and forcing them to do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah, and that last team fight was a little bit of a unicorn. Tactics and Matthias kind of walking too far forward, getting stunned up on that, or excuse me, knocked up on that kind of little mountain soul wall in between the red and the raptors, which basically meant the fight was just over at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Fighting to the Braum ult and the Ornn ult is just kind of a no-go for them. That was a perfect storm. And if they can replicate that in the mid to late game here as we are approaching it, it sounds like Team Dark Horse
to be Ornn, that's for sure.
We'll be able to clean it up and win.
Yeah, exactly. Droid is kind of quietly 3-0 and 2 though. Dude is really strong, has his Kraken Slayer built up, building toward his Zeal item. He is not going to be something to be messing with.
Yeah, he has a nice grip of farm as well. He's sitting pretty on probably his best champ, right? I feel like that's Droid's like #1 comfort pick at this point.
I'd say so.
Maybe
yeah.
Sivir. Maybe Sivir.
I mean, that or Sivir, I'd say as well. Those are certainly his most picked.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has that nice shield from the Braum there to block him. A lot of good disengage, so it's kind of hard to get at him.
Yeah, those are great things to have against something like Cog, Lucian, 8 or really 80 carries. You think about it. It's great because like as long as you're behind that, you're just not taking damage. I mean, your support's taking damage, but
who needs that guy? It's just Sword. Right? We love Sword.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
That's kind of a lull in the matchup right now. Solo laners are side laning, everyone else is kind of ARAMing it down middle, and gold is sort of stabilized for Team Dark Horse. They're down like a 1.5k now. They're looking awfully even. Spirit's giving us a little.
Will definitely mean less and less as the game progresses. So
we're exploring
these
the
lull
map.
States are definitely something that they are looking for, and they're happy to take them.
Yeah.
Just waiting for
everyone's
Ornn
looking
to
for
start
base on this next dragon.
blasting items.
Yeah,
okay,
and
so
we are seeing the tank
earlier.
Cog build sort of come through, but go ahead.
Oh, the Wits End, yeah. This build is toxic. So you'd mentioned it earlier. Can Ornn actually build futures market and dip into his savings or whatever from lane? Is that legal?
So I watched a video on this. I am not entirely sure. I think that is how it works. So you can futures market into it, and then you're able to get just the super early raffle list. I don't think that's what he did in this game, but it's kind of a cheesy way of dealing with 80 top items.
No. He needed it for Silas. So trust.
Oh, a little bit of bush action here. They might be able to catch Control as the blast cone comes through it. Control is looking in the rough spot. Everfrost misses. The Ornn Horde gets flashed by Control, and they are cleaned out. The Thyson Wells gets caught, but he is in safety. So they are not able to do anything as they're just going to go straight onto the dragon. Lin is in flank position, but there's the Lucian ult. The Coling. Lin is in the backline now. No punish for that. Ult in as he decides to go for the turn. Little Garen can very low on this Polar Bear, but there, so is the health bar. The entire red side Team Dark Horse is getting absolutely shredded by this Cog, but the ult, and Cannibal is looking very low, and Lin on the legend goes back in. Very ambitious. The ultimate isn't in time as it is a clean fight. Nice kite backwards and re-engage for Team Jungle Control.
Yeah, really nicely done by them there. I love the idea of the Death Bush into the Music X Orn Horn, but unfortunately, once they blew their load there, so to speak, they had to. Well, it just kind of ruined the Dragon fight. It was kind of scuffed because they didn't
Yeah.
have their big ol' engage tool, and cast on the flank doesn't have his ult charged up. He went for it, but he's just not there yet. And
You really like this
critically,
ward.
we like this sword, dude. It's giving me motion sickness, bro. I just make me
Yeah.
toss up my dinner.
Usually, yeah, usually, like I said, not having the Orn Horn for that huge kind of like bundle up there in the subsequent fight meant that they could not take it. Tika looked for the re-engage off of the dragon, but gets absolutely melted by the Lucian and the Silas. In the end, Lin tries to do something on the back end, but isn't strong enough right now to be able to be making these types of plays.
Exactly. Like that fight, maybe 10, 15 minutes from now. Word. Okay, cool. I can see that. But right now, at the 22-minute mark, that's not exactly positive for them. And not only did they not have the Ornhorn, dude, but Silas Control stole the ult as well. So they had their own version.
Oh goodness,
And
yeah.
that was just nutty. Also worth noting, it was a pretty heads-up move for Little Garrett there to drop that Herald mid as the Dragon was about to be contested, because they were able to pick up that tier 2 tower, and that's a lot of pressure that just disappears from the map.
Yeah, and notably, I also want to say Droid was positioned a little too far back. You have double summoners, you need to be in there looking for damage, especially when everyone was bunched up onto Teague like that. That is your opportunity. You have the to be doing huge amounts of damage.
Are you calling Droid a KDA player? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, and he certainly played that fight, but I mean, at the same time, you do scale. So maybe you just don't play for that fight now. Now you play for the end of this Baron. As there's a huge flank from Teak and the Legend. This might be what exactly the Doctor ordered. But they're going to call it off and just play for the siege.
Yeah, it looks like Jungle Control here doesn't want to give him that time to scale. Good moves by them to clean up those outer towers. They are pushing, and that lead that had stabilized a few minutes earlier is back. It's bulged up to about 5k.
I'm not sure about the quick blades from Lucian.
That's dank.
I mean, it's dank, but I think you just actually one-shot everyone who's going. I think Infinity Edge, I mean, granted, his Lucian, Solar Lane Lucian is different in the way that he functions with 80 carry Lucian. I think this build is fine if he's 80 carry Lucian, but Solar Lane Lucian, you are looking for those big damage numbers, you're looking for the big one-shots, much more so than what 80 carry Lucian typically goes for, and I think that he is in a position where you can just do that.
I have the read on this for you, Fox. I think Tranwell doesn't get to play Lucian that often. This is his moment. He's popping off. He's healing himself, and he just wants to play Earth right now.
The Ornn flank. I think they might be looking for this. Yeah, the Ornn Horde coming through. He's going to be able to get a nice little ultimate over onto the Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw is getting rooted by the Everfrost. Comes through as Will Gear is in the backline trying to disrupt, but Kog'Maw is already dead while they're trading for their own support. But Lucian is running absolutely rampant. He's killing everybody, and there's nobody that can deal with him right now. If Droid dies to it, and Lin the Legend soon to follow. Ult over the wall, but it is the two members of Team Jungle Control surviving that fight with the end.
This is the new Jungle Control bot lane, dude. It's Tranwell and Matthias. Look at him go.
Yeah,
Wow,
Protect's a little bit caught there, but doesn't matter.
Explosive finale to this game, man. It was looking like it was going to be good for them. That was a nice, it was pretty well lined up.
Can't end.
With the Ornal. They can't end. I'm calling it too
Oh,
soon. I'm BMing.
no.
It's my bad. My bad, everybody. I just dropped the preemptive GG.
Yeah,
Nothing more troll than that. Trust.
the preemptive GG. I mean, it looked really good, like you said, with Dark Horse at the start, but the entire time Tranwell basically in touch. They focused everything onto the Cog, and not sure it was worth.
I mean, they killed him. They killed the hell out of that guy. He definitely is deceased. But yeah, the 9-1 Lucian lived and almost ended the game. So
Yeah,
pretty sure
I
they're
have a
happy with
feeling
that.
the issue is in this game.
You have a feeling?
I don't know. I mean, you are the analyst. I'm just the smooth brain.
Okay, it's going straight to my head.
Yeah.
Can we flip back to items here? Yes, I do see
Absolutely.
that Animal has 13,500 gold, which is like almost 6k or 5k or something up on everybody else.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just snags
Droid
the
does have-
DF sword, dude.
Ooh. Yep. Yeah, there's those IE components. through as wow. This is looking to be an explosive start to some sort of team fight as Lindledge just ults back and flashes back out. The Ornhorn is there, lands on control, but Tegan's in. He is 1v9 in the backline and Tegan by himself. Meanwhile, you're getting some sound and audio through the Discord. Torch sacrifices his life. Linda Legend dies as Jungle Control is looking to run over the rest of this fight. Droid is by himself, looking to 1v1 the enemy team. Goes for the W, but it is too little, too late, and the game is now going to be over.
That is all she wrote, dude. I'm confident they're gonna end this time. Please.
I don't know. We might be looking for a little BM action now. They're just looking for the end. Tranimal putting the entire team on his back as we're getting yet more zoom-ins onto that ward. I get your support main, Spirit of Fate. Oh my goodness, as the game is over.
The game is over, dude. Chunk Control sealing the deal in the first game of the series. It looks like there were some signs of life there for Dark Horse, but it was not able to, I guess, come in time.
Kind of what are your takeaways?
Dude, Lucian top, it's OP. The big
All right, hold on. How are we looking? All
we have
right, we are back. Yeah,
do we have
so that was.
audio?
I think we're good. Yeah, that was some crazy things happening.
Yeah, that was buck
Sorry.
wild.
What was your take again on the end of that game?
I
That
was
game
just
as a
gonna
whole.
say it started to look like they had their bearings coming together. Everything was starting to fall into place. It looks like they just needed a few more minutes, but no, that was not what Jungle Control was going to allow happen there. They took the game by the balls there and kind of finished when they needed to. So really well played by them. Good on them. That was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Perhaps picking too ambitious with that blind pick Kassadin, getting that Lucian counter pick, and really winning, getting the better of that lane swap. It looked like it was maybe bad early for TCC, Team Jungle Control. We're gonna call him TCC from here on out.
TCC.
Maybe it looks a little bad. Control did miss an entire grip on the spot. Eventually getting exactly what they wanted, and the solution was so strong in the mid lane against the console.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well done by them. Very cool draft. I liked that like group of 3 champs that are like really, really strong in the early and mid game, and then you have your Lulu Cog insurance package.
Yep.
I know that can run into some issues if they like really fall behind on the Lulu Cog, but that was not the case here. Tactics and Matthias doing a great job of playing the lane in such a way that they were able to participate before the game
Looking
ended.
juicy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I guess that concludes it. I think we're probably gonna go to a break, and I'm gonna yeet on out of here. So
Yeah,
thanks
I
for
think
having me,
so.
dude.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. That was Wrist Out Joe. Really appreciate having you here.
Yeah, no problem. All right, I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, for sure. Take care. We'll see you all back after a quick break.
Am I muted?
Hold on.
again.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I
I
mean,
think. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, Trent played it well. I mean, once he picked up that solo kill in music, the game was getting run away with.
Yeah, it looked like curtains after that. Especially since they didn't
Hey,
quite get
you're
the lead spot they
lost.
wanted for a
I
while,
get
and
it.
then they just had it for like 10 minutes. It's nuts.
Yep.
As we have jumped into draft, sorry, we were trying to move pretty quickly. That same
Are
pretty
you
consistent
sleeping?
bands coming through. There's the Israel LeBlanc versus the Viego on the other end. Pretty much what we would expect from both these teams.
Yeah, I talked to Lynn's team beforehand.
I
And they
recommend
have the
skipping.
same bands for both sides.
Oh, are we still
Although it looks like the Lulu's
soundless?
getting banned.
Yeah, the Lulu's getting banned. I think that's a good respect pick. Lulu's just so annoying, and they don't want to open up the avenue for another Kog'Maw, maybe.
Alternative.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the enchanter that you run with the Kog'Maw isn't the major issue. It's probably the Kog'Maw itself, but they may be respecting the games that Matt's put on.
There's no
Lulu.
way they first pick Cassian again after what just happened, right?
I don't know. Like the fact they picked up first rotation last time was pretty disrespectful.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's really disrespectful if you do it once again and open yourself up to that.
Yeah, and then I mean, Ornn having to play such a short lane in order to bring back the lane swap.
Yeah,
Just
for
tough as
sure.
well.
And I think it makes a lot more sense. They're just gonna first pick Droid again, give him the Sivir this time. On the Jinx, maybe it looked like he wasn't able to get in range to do damage in some of these team fights. Sivir you get to press R, you get to wave clear. It's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I think that Droid may have been feeling a lot of pressure from the other players and just kind of because he was it was always rockets, regardless of how
Yeah.
you're looking at it, and it really choked him out.
I think so too. But I mean, we're seeing kind of a role reversal that Jinx being picked up for worse tactics. They had maybe and not really a whole lot of enabling in the last game, especially since Tranible was just kind of running over the game. But now you have the Jinx, you have the spell shield, maybe a little bit more resources being put into the bot lane. What's the Acid and Hover? Nope. just a little bit of
BM,
a
I think,
disrespect, a little bit of BM, yeah. And made sure to pick up Sword's champion early this time around. We did see 3 bans going towards Swordmaster from Team Jungle Control last game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the Echo come out, and I think the Echo is kind of rough into the volley, especially. I think that with the spell shield too, and the roots, it's really going to be difficult for Lin to do anything here. I think that Sivir Leo probably have a decent amount of agency, but in terms of the mid lane, I think he's definitely going to struggle.
You think there's any world where we see that in the jungle on Teague? Because I know Teague does play Echo jungle.
I think that'd be a very good flex. I think that getting Lin off this Echo mid would be very good. But I know that also Lin plays Echo, as far as I know.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a good flex pick, and that's really where we see a lot of the pro meta in the current day and age really has to be shaping up. You see all sorts of picks being flex picked into solo lane, sometimes into solo jungle, and that's really the name of the game to try and get any sort of draft advantage.
I'm surprised we saw the Cassian band.
Yeah, me too. Guess they just don't wanted any potential for Lin to go late with this game, so I think that's fair. Maybe if they just sometimes, especially in TCL, you're just looking like I just don't want to deal with this at all.
Hey, Lin plays well on it.
Exactly. Yeah, and maybe they don't want to play the Dosido with the the lane swaps again. At the same time, the Volibear once again being picked up as the
Wait,
gangplank for
they left up the
Tranimal.
Gangplank? They banned the Camille.
Oh wow. Yep. That looks like that's exactly what we're going to see. Especially with given Music's champ pool, I think this is a great pick.
I mean, yeah. So with the Sunder buffs into Leona, like this is balling out. I mean, this is a great pick here. It's a comfort pick for Tranimal. Like I'm very surprised because I heard ahead of
Very
time that
surprising.
I heard ahead of time that Lynn's team wasn't very concerned with it, but I just feel in this specific situation, this deep in the draft, I don't think he should have been given a comfort pick. But they did have to take
I
Ziggs off the
completely
table.
agree. I completely agree. Especially you think about Gangplank going over top of any sort of single target CC that might be a Morgana or the Volibear. Their pick is quite scary, and their
Okay.
ability to maybe make a 4-man happen.
Mort is really bad here.
Yeah, I
that's in a
agree.
Morg, that's in a Volibear, and that's in a GP Oranges.
I mean, okay, to be fair, most of the music's champion pool is bad into what they're looking at here. Maybe he just thinks that's the best of.
Prayers for my boy. That this is gonna
Indeed,
be
yeah. As there is the Yumi hover. Not sure if that's going to come through. I would imagine Matthias is going to be on the Morgana. Yep, it's going to be the control champ, which is the Lissandra. Very, very comfort pick for the control. As Lin is on the Kiana. Kind of difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I think that I think there's kind of a Hail Mary. I think that if Echo and Kiana can get ahead, they could try and run away with the game. But really, I mean, Control's team just has to hang on. They hang
Yeah.
on. They hit about like 24 minutes ish, right? And even if they're the other teams on Drake Point, well, Drake Point is kind of dangerous in Encounter, but I like I'm really liking Control's draft here actually.
Yeah, I really, and I completely agree. I kind of wonder about Team Dark Horse's draft entirely. The only role where they actively knew which lane they were picking into was the Mordekaiser, where they picked it into Gangplank. Every other champion, they pretty much picked blind or in response or in advance of what the other people had picked. So maybe they have a clear idea for what their draft is going to shape up in terms of early mid game. But they do flex that echo over onto Teague. But I'm struggling to see how they're able to play compositionally versus Team Jungle Control.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like. I don't know who Mordekaiser ults here. Like, I mean, I know who he ults, right? He tries to ult the list because Jinx is gonna have the shield. Maybe he tries to ult Morgana, but I mean, she just roots and walks away. I just
Yeah, it's a very odd game, especially since you look at the type of pressure that they're going to be able to put up with the Volibear ganking early game. You think about once Gangplank's level 6, any sort of catch in the bot lane turns into some sort of huge snowball effect. Maybe Morgana lands at Q, Volibear gets a single target stun, Gangplank ults over top, and any sort of fight can easily snowball off of that.
certainly, certainly. I mean, I think maybe Lynn's team tries to make it happen with like a 4v3 bot lane,
Yeah,
right? Like Kiana pushes in Liz, Echo comes bot with Sivir ult, they just play around like an all around just dive.
yeah,
And I think if they make that happen like 3 or 4 times throughout the mid game before like that probably like 20-24 minute mark for Control's team, I think it could work. I just think overall it's very dicey. It requires a lot of proactivity, and proactivity is not in the meta right now.
exactly. Yeah, and it's especially tough for Lin to play. I mean, he's really got to land some huge ultimates because aside from that, there's a lot of lockdown from Jungle Control.
Yep. Yeah,
And
Agenite is gonna look nice this game.
yeah, for sure. And I think Cleanse needs to be on Droid as well. Droid needs to be taking the Cleanse this game. He's avoiding Morgana pick, he's avoiding Lissandra, and then Chompers on top of that, any sort of ganks from Volibear. I think he really needs Cleanse this game, even with the specific spell field.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like a extra little cherry on top. Make sure he's not getting hit up like that, especially
Right.
because like cleanse gives, if I recall, it gives 60% tenacity after use as
Hmm.
well, and that
Yeah,
just
for
works
three
so well here.
seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean,
it's quite value this game for sure.
yeah, I think basically everybody should be taking it.
Yeah,
Um,
I was wondering. That's actually what I wanted to ask you. Do you think Lynn should be taking it? I think it might be a little bit of a hail mary for Lynn to take that, but I wouldn't hate it if he did it.
I think legend tenacity should be
Yeah, that's
actually
fair.
on everybody. I don't think I don't even think it's a question. I like no, I mean it's both teams just have a ton of like CC that is avoidable
Mhm.
via tenacity, and
Right.
we should see 51% tenacity from legend tenacity and merc treads on basically everybody.
Yeah. Well, part of my issue is just like I'm looking down the lanes and I'm just not seeing where it looks good for dark horses.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. All right, we're getting in game though.
Yeah, I mean, like you look down the lanes. Where do they have even like an even matchup really? I mean, at best, it's
Uh
probably mid lane.
yeah, I mean it's if Lin gets ahead, he takes his lead, throws it bot, or there is also the possibility that they do a 4 camp into Tranimal, and they try to tilt him
Okay.
out.
Yep.
I think
I like
just,
that.
if they just hit Tranimal enough times, he may just freak out. I mean, that's
you're
it. I
basically
think.
saying the way to win the game is playing the mental game. Here.
Yeah. I mean, this is compositionally. I mean, they're looking rough. So I mean, they've got to
It is
take him
pretty
down.
dire. Yeah, Lin does end up taking that cleanse. Droid with the heal. I think that's kind of not great this game. Got enough move speed really, and the heal's not going to do as much as cleanse would. But yeah, I agree. I think you look for maybe some jungle shenanigans early. Maybe a four camp straight into top side, or maybe you look for that early scuttle prior with any sort of advantage that you're able to push.
Well, he's going lethality Sivir here, which I think is really good. I think if we went Kraken Slayer, we would have seen a slaughter.
Yeah, I could see that too.
So
I could see
think
Gale.
Well, if you went Gale Force or Kraken Slayer, I think that taking Cleanse would be more important. But if he's taking Poke, he's really not. I mean, I think Cleanse would still be good. I just don't think it's as important anymore.
That's true. Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm pretty biased. I hate Lethality Sivir. It's so boring to play. But I definitely understand your point, and I definitely agree as well. I think, like you said, you're just not in a position with those super long range Sivir queues that it's as important. That being said, we do see the top side start from the Echo, so junglers playing cross map from each other down under tower while things are happening, and most importantly, it is going to be a fairly standard early game so far, looking like they just don't do as much.
I mean, you say standard, but I mean, Music's in a tough lane, and he has to leash top. So I mean, like walking back into GP. So Teague has to make a gank happen here, or I mean, Music's gonna be bleeding. If it's not kills, it's gonna be CS.
It is. You're totally right. Like Music's going to be in kind of a rough spot. GP with this grasp of the dying, going to be sustaining very nicely with that resolve tree, and meanwhile bot side, you have a Leona setup even against the Morg. If you're not really doing anything with this, Leona's just going to be falling behind, and Droid's not going to be able to get the gold that he needs to be able to go into the mid game.
Okay,
Channel's
getting
from the he's kind of getting knocked up, especially with this. Wow, he is getting absolutely annihilated, burning through every single corrupting pot early on in the game. Wow, look at this lane going in favor of Music X early. Gets Opsis passive and does really well in the trade.
Yeah, I mean, Music somehow got the level 2 there and just made it happen. It's going to be rough. Well, Garrett's supposed to be... Why are they fighting?
Not sure.
So Garrett can't be top here, so Music's in the cage match. I mean, he's looking good for it. Teague is literally taking every single one of his camps in order. And so, I mean, we see a clear lead coming out of blue for this
interesting decision by Garrett. He's super late on his clear. Teague's on 5 camps, or Lil Garrett's on 3, and Teague's already moving forward for a gank. Meanwhile, Garrett's just looking for his red buff and Raptors. As the Black Shield comes through, Swordmaster going a little bit deep, only able to land the Echo onto the Matthias, but Verstax is getting stunned up as Droid lands a field goal onto the bot lane. Nice little gank there, forcing a flash the support, but meanwhile Droid burning his own flash and Ignite, so maybe not quite worth it.
I think that putting Jinx Morg under tower, we know Garrett's topside, and Teague has taken 5 camps and Scuttle. I think this is looking actually really nice for blue. They don't actually have to get the kill. Putting them both in a chunking position where Sivir can just fire Qs under tower, I mean, this is actually great. This is exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly. And the surprising thing was Garrett did 2 camps invaded, took the enemy Raptors actually. I wanted to put myself. Which was kind of an interesting decision. I'm not sure that's worth it with all the time that you're losing between camps. And he's actually still, about even after that roam into and he delayed his red buff a lot. And
his bot suffered a gank because of it, and we know exactly what Garrett is. So.
Yeah, and ultimately that Raptor take isn't quite worth it.
Well, this is great. They helped Lin push here. So Lin's going to get a very clean back off. He's going to come mid. He's going to hit 6 with his buy, and then they're probably going to look to put more pressure into bot. Looks like he's playing this very well. I'm actually surprised. Especially
exactly. Dark Horse kind of had a good early 6 or 7 minutes in the last game too. So a lot of this is going to center around what these teams do around their objectives. What happens when Dragon's up? What happens when... Ooh, wow. Nice little trade. Tranimal landing the full barrel combo over onto Music X and then getting the grass block as they're going to be looking for a dive here as well. Music X does have flash, is able to land it, gets his passive stacking up. No, look for it. No, Lil Garrett actually calls it off. I think they could have gone for that. Music X already popped his W.
You know, I think that if Music buffers his E during the stun and then flashes after, I think it's a very tough spot, and I also think he has Legend Tenacity because he took Conquer.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, and he had not popped his W. I made a mistake there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, T's going to see that pressure for really nothing and get a dragon out of it. This is some interesting early pathing from Little Garrett. Has really gotten nothing out of his early movements. Meanwhile, Teague has gotten everything he wants.
Dragsoul's a win con for blue team, so this is important that they get it, and it's important that they get it early, because this is the only way blue team's going to scale, and the fact that the first Drake is Infernal Drake is actually just great for their team. It works on everybody but Swordmaster.
Exactly, yeah. And his bot lane's doing just fine, especially with the help of that gank. Worst Tactics playing super safe after having the knowledge of the Echo being there. Really just doesn't want to give up anything to this bot lane at all. And Little Garrett really needs to start making something happen.
True, I mean, to some extent they can just scale, but he does have to shadow around the bot side of the map. Overall, I don't think he has to do anything. Like, if he can just keep his jungle camps cleared and then hover a lane to make sure that Echo can't bully, you know, he's probably doing all right, but there just needs to be some help in wave management. Like, you know, if Control, like right now, could call Garrett over to help him push, and then either, you know, get like a roam off, or maybe go for an invade, or look for a scuttle or something. You know, there's a lot of pressure they could have. But I mean, if he just gets the scuttle straight up, I guess it's not.
Exactly, yeah. I think a difficult thing is talking about the itemization difference here in the mid lane. That early Seeker's Arm Guard coming from Control, and while straight into lethality for the Kiana. You talk about maybe some of the early power available to him. Maybe if Control's able to kill someone, get his passive going, maybe he's pretty strong, but getting to that point is going to be a little bit interesting. Music X is getting ganked up here on the top side. Maybe Little Garrett should have just gone for it.
I think that Music is 6 now, and if he opens up, like if he gets to Conquer, then presses R on Garrett, he gets a pretty large amount of HP. I think it's actually risky. Garrett needs 6 so that he can actually contest.
Exactly, just clears the ward. Yeah, goes and does his Krugs. Meanwhile, Trenimal, up a fair amount of CS, they definitely do not want to throw this lane.
Well, so Music has 2 cloths here, and the majority of Volley's magic damage comes from the Storm. So if as soon as he sees the Storm, he ults Volley out, the Storm doesn't hit him in Shadow Realm, and then it's all physical damage from there on out.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think there's a big difficulty. Yes, he's still going to look for a little bit of a gank here. Music X already burns the W. Trenimal's getting quite low though, but Teague is here to support. As the blue buff, there's the Mordekaiser ultimate. Little Garrett going back, landing off the stun, as actually winning this 1v1 at the moment. Music X forced the flash back out. As the TP gets cancelled from Control, Control forced to flash himself. Meanwhile, Volibear is in. Music X is getting quite low, but Trenimal flashing forward. But the Triumph saves the Mordekaiser. Music X getting quite low though. Meanwhile, Teague goes in and ults back out. Trenimal can't quite do anything left, as in the middle lane, the support roam from Swordmaster burning both summoners gets the kill onto Control, and what a disastrous past minute for Team Jungle.
Wow, if that TP had gone through, this would have been an absolute slaughter. That was, wait, Swordmaster's coming in for the roam, Trenimal.
Oh my god, the full cross map roam. Trenimal's getting absolutely getting the treatment. W's the Q stun from Mordekaiser. Oh my goodness, I can't even talk. As Mordekaiser secures the kill, what a crazy cross map roam from Swordmaster, making 2 kills happen by himself.
This is great. I mean, the fact that it went on Mord is even better, because Mord's going to back here, pick up like a Seekers, maybe a Bramble Vest, a Tabby, anything to... Well, he can't pick up Tabby, but
and
anything.
Who knows what happened bot lane, but this wave is in the middle of the lane. Droid loses nothing for this.
Yeah, this is great, but I mean, you know, you can't really punish the Sivir with, you know, Morg Binding being your primary playmaking tool, so...
No, but you could push forward and get a plate. I think they definitely should have been able to get a plate bot lane off of that. I mean, that was straight up walking across the map.
True. Well, I mean, now that Leo has those Mobies, you know, it's going to be hard to punish this. Oh.
True. There's the nice little early spell shield coming through. Sword's trying to hold it. Finally uses the ultimate just to break the spell shield, as they are just going to be out. He decides to opt out of this gank. Swordmaster not quite getting anything first trouble.
I'm surprised Sword didn't ult Matt there. As soon as we saw the spell shield come down, he ults Matt. He either burns a flash, or they definitely annihilate him there.
Exactly.
There's no way he's getting up.
That's definitely typically how you play Leona. You wait to see what the spell shield's coming out on. If it's so great, you just leave the carry, and you just literally just switch targets. That's the MO, especially since you have so many tools once you hit 6, like you said.
True. Man, this is Teague isn't doing poorly, but obviously he got the Drake, but you always see
He is
when you
down.
focus on Drakes, you're just down so much CS, and
Exactly,
if-
yeah.
him to try and contest this Drake, if he's at least level 7, they can try and justify it, but he's also rocking Dark Harvest, so I mean he's just lacking a lot of the early game damage. I mean Garrett's looking beefy here. Garrett's
Yeah,
0-1
exactly.
looking very beefy.
Yeah, that early Ember. Ooh, as a little bit of a trade coming through, but Tranimal is taking a lot of damage from these minions as the rest of the team is setting up on this dragon. Troid and Swordmaster trying to get a little bit of a push as the rest of the map has started to rotate. Lynn the Legend may be looking for something on the side. Now Sword is here on a flank. Control still in the lane, pushing in.
Tranimal's down TP, and
Oh,
Mordekaiser
that's
has
true.
none. And
Oh,
Tranimal's
yeah.
ulti is barely coming up for this. This is actually a loss for Red.
Yeah, this
I
is
think
this
he
is not
TPs
great. And there's the Mordekaiser ult as well. Morg Binding already being missed. They're just trying to bait it out. Teague lands the nice W placement and forces the double flash of the jungler AD carry. Meanwhile, the GP ult doesn't really do anything because they are just able to peel back and take this dragon free. Double stumps just for their TP, and they get the down.
What a tragedy. I think that Red Team had absolutely no shot of getting this as long as
Yeah.
because Tranimal just can't TP to lane like that.
Exactly.
And expect to get these. I think it was great trigger discipline, holding the TP from Mordekaiser. I liked it coming out early because again, Dragons their win con, so I mean they're looking pretty good here.
Yeah.
This is Ocean Drake too, so this is a real win con. Like this,
Yeah.
if they get this,
Without
like,
a doubt.
it's going to be very, very difficult to play into it.
And their CS numbers are looking great down here in the bot lane. Full call fields for Sivir, has that tier stacking up. Teague is already on the indicative. They might look for a turn here on a dive onto Matthias. Nice early ultimate from the Leona and secures the double stun onto him. Meanwhile, Matthias is getting stunned up himself, but lands the full ultimate channel onto the entire blue side team. Meanwhile, this wave is going to die quite quickly to the Sivir, but the Sivir is running a little bit low on mana. They're just going to call it off. Wow. Nice bush cheese from the Echo and secures another kill as the AD carries walking the lane. That is very sad Jinx right now.
It's beautiful. This is exactly what they were looking to do. They were looking to use the Leo as an enabler and just play on smacking up Jinx. I mean, this is great. That was a great bush cheese, and I don't want to call it too early, but this is game 3 material that I'm looking at.
As we see this counter up here in the top lane, early ultimate from Music X is quite able to pop this. There it is. This doing so much damage to Little Garrett. Little Garrett finally ultimate himself as they come out of the ultimate. Meanwhile, Music X gets the 1v2 here in the top lane. Still has his passive running and is dealing absolute heaps to Tranimal. And that is just bad gone worse for Team Jungle Control.
Maybe I should have put some respect on the Mordekaiser pick. I thought this lane was actually impossible. And look, gameplay doesn't have Sunder yet, but Volley has to understand that he can't just come up here. I mean, he's gonna get ulted basically every time by Mord. It's a struggle.
Yeah, good trades across the map. Volley not expecting what happened to them, and Little Garrett certainly not expecting what just happened to him. What a crazy early game. 14 Dark Horses. They look like a completely new early game team in this game.
We're looking at another gank.
Yeah, absolutely. Teague really spending a lot of time down here. We're trying to make sure that time does not get to have fun. Meanwhile, Swordmaster is roaming yet again. Wow.
Well,
look at this team synergy.
True. Well, if you look at it, because Music got that solo kill on Garrett, it means that Teague still has a top side. Where Garrett before was ahead tons of CS.
Little Garrett's here again. I'm not sure this is going to work out for you, just like what happened last time. I get that you have the Rift Herald, but meanwhile, Kiana is looking for the rotation as well. This is going to be a full 3-man. Kiana definitely has the water walking. Excuse me, not the water walking, the Ionian boots, and is walking toward top with water. Tranimal is going to be getting rooted up. No, gets flashed out of it. Little Garrett is getting super low. There's the Tranimal ult from the gangplank and control TPs up here into the top lane. And it is just 1 for 0, and they don't get the tower.
Not only did they not get the tower, but they also didn't get any plates because it was at 14, like 01 or 03 when it charged. So
that is tragic. All of this top attention from Team Jungle Control has just not worked out for him as Control decides to go in, stays in the bush, and they are able to get the shutdown onto the gangplank. Nice play from Control on the pink board, finally salvaging what just happened.
Yeah, that was a little greedy for Music, but I see. Hey, look, I'd have a little bit of a big head.
Teague ults back in, and Kiana is here to support. Tranimal W's out of the Kiana route as Control is out of there in a response. Teague is able to survive on 1 HP. Lin the Legend coming in here and securing the kill with all of this burst damage. 3-0-1 on the Kiana.
Well, I don't know if you saw that, but he actually specifically gave the kill to Lin. He canceled his auto and walked away. That's
Wow.
what they need to do to win this game. I'm very impressed. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Teague and Lin making that duo look good here in the middle jungle lanes. We are talking about an early 2.5K, 2.6K gold lead for Team Dark Horse at 15 minutes. 8-1 on the kill count. And CS lead's not looking too hot in the top side, but looking pretty decent.
You know, each Drake is probably looking like at least a K, right? In terms of like passive bonus stats. So I mean, you know, this lead is incredibly hefty.
Yeah, I think they need to start getting their bot lane a little bit more involved in what's happening. We see these Sword Master roams being incredibly effective, and even when he hasn't gotten kills, he's been able to roam into the mid lane and get a push for Lin to.
True, I mean, there's really no answer for, like, you know, Jinx Morg is just trying to scale here, so they have to hope that their team doesn't die.
Oh my god, and they're definitely going to secure this dragon too. Put him on soul point. There's that third Drake moving toward Ocean Soul. Jinx looking for a steal a little bit early.
Well, this is why we cap Jinx damage, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That would be a little disgusting if she had gotten a different HP. We also saw the jungle changes go through, so would have been hard for her to steal it. So, but still worth a shot.
Certainly. I mean, they need a Hail Mary at this point because, look, even with Soul, we've seen the Elder Drake coin flip in TCL many times. So that's a win con, and Tranimal 6-item GP is also a win con because Sunder Barrels. That's 12% of your HP AoE, so
yeah,
might not be too bad, especially the amount of healing he'll get from it.
Yes, healing definitely an underrated aspect of Sunder. So he just heals so much just from the experience of playing Ezreal. All the poke damage is super high up, and I gotta say we were super down on Dark Horse's team comp, but they are absolutely running away with this game.
True, but I think this is more of a team cohesion and player skill scenario. I'm gonna be honest, even with the amount of lead they have and on the comp, the only reason why Red Team would still be feasible here is because their comp is so much better, right? If Blue Team starts slipping a little bit, it can look...
Here might be in a bit of a compromised position here. T goes for it. There's the Leona ult. Lin the Legend to follow up in the CC chain. One-shots. Lil Garrett and the TV is there to come and help. They're going to be looking to secure this tower. Music X is here in assistance. Control is still top lane. No TV. This is a god now.
This? Oh, that's big.
Oh, and secures the kill onto Mordekaiser from the GP as the tower shot is able to kill him before they get it. There's that extra minion take as the sad axe, thank you Spirit of Fate, on production by themselves as they're going to go for an 18-minute Rift Herald. Are they going to be able to contest this? They are down. Music X who has no TP. Do they have any idea what's going on though? Yes, it looks like they do. They're rotating. It's a 3-man versus the 4-man. Volibear is here to support. They're going to have to heal up. Droida needs to look for some poke on this lethality sipper as Worst Tactics is a little bit lower.
The Herald's not important here. I think that Red is actually
That's
playing
a little bit of
game.
a strange call.
If they go mid here, they take the tower, they take it down, and you know they might actually be able to contest Drake Point. But I mean, like the Herald is actually irrelevant.
Are they going to reset and lose Herald anyways?
No, surely. I mean, okay, blue side can't know that they're resetting, right? It's bad.
But they're going to do it. Yeah, they're going to do it, and they literally all just reset, and they're going to lose the Herald as a result. Oh no. That is a tragedy for Red side. Red side just doesn't get the mid tower. They don't get the Herald. They lose the Herald, and then they're going to lose some early, or not some early, excuse me, they're going to lose some pressure in their lanes as well. That is really sad.
Red side has to hit like 32 minutes, 33 minutes at this point. Like the 24-minute win con only matters if it's any semblance
somewhat
of being even. Yeah.
Oh no. That is really, really sad. For Team Jungle Control, they need to maybe have a little bit more unified moving forward. As Jinx might be getting gone on in the mid lane by this Kiana. Echo is going in as well. They're looking for it. The traps are able to stop the Kiana, but he's through the minion, and Teague is just going to solo him up. I would love absolutely no chance.
I'd love to see a push here. I'd love to see a 4-1 push, Mordekaiser matching GP, drop the Herald, pick out the inhib, back, reset, get your buys in, and pick up the soul. And they can fight over Baron, and they can win the game probably pretty handedly, ambitiously around 26, 27 minutes. I would love to see it. I'm very critical about the macro here, but I think it's doable, and I'd be so excited to see like a very clean game like that. Just
Yeah,
wrap it
and-
like a present.
And I want to shout out, Joe called that out last game. Teague and Lin are really the heart and soul of this team. Really the
Certainly.
heart and soul of when anything happens, it's definitely revolving around them, and we're certainly seeing that in this early game. You look at
Hey,
the kill
don't-
participation, you look at what the general flow of the game has been.
True, and then we got those roams from Leona. We got Sivir making sure the lane doesn't end up getting punished. Musa getting the solo kill on Garrett. I mean, it's coming